Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is G. Gemini, this is your video, and we're going to talk about your January. Yes, G with all astrology is going to go over your January. We're going to talk about an ending. We're going to talk about a beginning. We're also going to talk about the birth of Venus. Birth of Venus happened back in December. Okay. Now you probably already recognized it, or maybe you even watched my birth of Venus video. If you haven't, and if you want more information about it after this, then go check that video. I'll put the link right below the video and the details. Maybe I'll pin it too for you. But here we're going to cover where Venus has her birth for Gemini. And then we'll talk about the endings and the beginnings, and you'll get a card for each of those. And guess what? New cards. With the new cards, let's begin. Now, your birth of Venus for Gemini energy, okay? Birth of Venus keywords: love, money, desires, significant one-on-one relationships. And when I say that, it doesn't have to be someone that you're married to, but someone that you want, someone who you may consider yours. You know, when we say, that's my guy or that's my girl, right? It doesn't always have to be, I mean, there's lots of different ways that can work, right? You can feel this magnetic thing going on between you guys, and so you claim them to be yours. It could be someone you're married to. So when I say significant relationships, it could be the person you're married to. It can be someone that you just are really attracted to, right? Desire, right? Attracted, because Venus is magnetic. Yeah, think of a magnet. That's Venus energy. So it's your love and how you know, who and what you love. So when we think of our finances, this is also Venus, because it's how I receive. So it's incoming, right? So for Gemini, this Venus rebirth happens in your 7th house. Yeah, this is significant one-on-one relationships, which is why I kind of started off talking about Venus in a way where it was like relationship energy, because it's in your 7th house, right? Because you have Sag in your 7th. Well, Sag is where Venus had her birthday. It's a 2-year cycle, by the way. And so significant one-on-one relationships. Now, Sagittarius in a 7th house placement is a difficult placement for relationships. It's difficult because Sagittarian is really a very independent spirit. Freedom is a big deal for Sagittarian energy in general. And for Sagittarian energy, they feel as though they need to explore and to adventure, to experience, to journey, right? So how does one do that when the 7th house is significant relationships? Like, we're supposed to be married and committed to one person here. You see what I'm saying? So all those things I just said: explore, experiment, journey, right? Remember, it's Jupiter. Jupiter rules this place. So Jupiter's like, the more, the better. So it's not the best placement for marriage. It's difficult. It challenges it. It says, can you be committed? Can you stay focused on just that one person as opposed to wanting to have a little bit of everybody, right? Now, you may have some things that make this easier for you in your chart. There may be some very other strong things that help this energy either squash it, you know, or balance it in some way, where you can say, hey, I've been married for 20 years, man, and it's gone pretty darn well, I think. And that may be true. It's the personal birth charts that tell the real story, okay? But knowing that you have a birth of Venus here, this says we can very, very likely either be rejuvenating the love we already have with somebody, like it's a new cycle, 2 years, right? A 2-year cycle of love and desire and passions, right? Remember, Venus is the senses and sensuality, right? And the touching, the feeling, like that's the Venusian energy, and the smells and the scents and the food and the, you know, the strawberries and the whipped cream, and like that's Venus energy, right? That's all Venus. So just keep in mind, if you're married, then maybe reigniting that flame. If you're not, then it's a good possibility meeting new people, okay? And these people don't always have to be, it doesn't have to be a romantic thing. It could be just people that you're taking a journey with. And so it can be a spiritual journey because it's Sagittarius energy. It can be a journey literally on land or in air, meaning we travel together, right? Yeah. In the Native American circles, we would call it, this is someone that is they're on the red road with me. We're like partners on that red road together. You know, it's kind of like that spiritual journey, but it doesn't have to do with religion, or it can for some of you if you're inclined that way. Right. So it's new people, new relationships, new values, could be business partnerships even. Maybe there's somebody that you're, you know, partnering up with that you do spiritual work, you know, where you have like these little different ministries that you work together, right? It could be like that. Exploring. Big thing with Sagittarius. Exploring. Think astronauts, right? Exploring the universe, exploring the cosmos. Yeah. Do you have a partner that's willing to do that with you? Because that partner might not be the one that you're married to. It's okay to have different partners for different things, you know, and for you, that's probably best, actually. Yeah, it's a difficult placement unless you have something in your chart that helps you to be focused on just one person. So now, let's pull you a card for this new Venus energy. It's a 2-year cycle, if I didn't already say that. They're telling me to do the spanning of the cards. Well, let's move that forward. We're going to span them out, and that's what I'm doing without looking, right? So I'm spanning them, and I have to feel them. I'm feeling them with my hands is what I'm doing. I'm not looking at them, so you know. And this is just what they're guiding me to do right now. And there's, you know what's interesting? They're telling me, I'm hearing it over and over again, to take the second card. I know it doesn't make sense to you because there was multiple batches of second cards that I kept seeing. Anyhow, here's the one. Ready? It's a Scorpio card. Oh, this tells me it's somebody where you have emotional history with, deep wounds. It doesn't have to be wounds as in hurts. I know I said wounds, and wounds are hurts. But it's soul history. So it could be someone from your past even. Yeah. So it says this energy is intense. It's masterful and thoughtful and magnetically charming. Yeah, magnetically charming. But is also secretive and possessive. Right. So keep that in mind. If there is someone coming in from the past, it doesn't have to be that they were the possessive ones, although they could have been, but it can also be that you may, you know how some people you meet and, you know, there might have been that confusion between love and desire type of thing. This might be that. So keep that in mind. Okay. This might be that. And if you're in the game for that sort of a thing, if that's the journey you're ready for, then fine. Just be very clear in your own mind what's actually going on, not to confuse, you know, love or desire, not to confuse those things. This is very much about a desire energy. So in other words, you look at that person and you're just, yeah, you lose all your sensibilities, right? This is kind of like that, which is really fascinating. So yeah, that is your Venus, your birth of Venus. Very magnetic Scorpio energy. Yeah, your 7th house, Gemini. Wow. It's like on fire with this card. January. Wow. The beginning of January is an ending. It's a full moon energy. It's right in the first week. I'll have all the details below and the degrees and stuff. So yeah, January, full moon ending, completion and release and letting go. For you, Gemini, this happens in your 2nd house of money and who you value and what you value. So it's a release and a let go. Values. This could be, maybe you have to write a check. Could be something like that. It could simply be the value that you hold, the desire that you have for something or someone. You're letting it go. You're like, you know what? I don't value this anymore. An example, you've got things around the house, something you paid good money for possibly at one time because you did value it. And you're just like, not so much anymore. So you put it up on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and you get rid of it. It could be like that. It can also be where you literally have to write a check for something. But I'm hearing clearly, no, it has to do with your desire for something and you no longer desire it or that person. There was something you desired, you no longer desire it and you're letting it go. Okay, that's what I'm hearing clearly. So maybe there's a gain in that release, right? Maybe there's a gain somewhere for you in that because when we release something, it makes room for the new. And according to your Venus situation, you got something new happening. Yeah. So let's get you a card for this release, this completion, and this letting go. What I will say is it's feminine energy and it's connected to family. Could be mom, could be mother wounds. It's mom energy. It can be people in like tribe family. So in other words, it doesn't have to be blood mom. It can be people, feminine energy in general. So anybody in your life who exudes that nurturing vibration, maybe there's just a closure on something. Maybe there was a chapter in your life where that person was needed and they're no longer needed. For some people, this could hit in a much more difficult way where they literally, there could be a loss of a loved one. Like that's unfortunately, but that's been happening a lot. That's just the life that we're living now these days. So at least it seems like it. So let's pull you a card. I'll release something that has to do with vibration of family nurturing a mother wounds possibly, right? And getting the first card right up on top, which is different, very different. Oh, you might like this though. It's the planets, the sun. It's very bright. It's optimistic. It says that your immortal spirit, purpose, and destiny is involved in this. Well, what I will say, what's fascinating about that, as I'm seeing this for you, is that Cancer energy, that full moon I talked about, it's in the sign of Cancer. It involves history. It involves the past. So here we're saying that if the past is involved, then typically our soul in some way is also involved. So here we're saying this card is supplying with the immortal spirit, purpose, and destiny is involved in this. So there's light here. The sun is how we shine. It is also representative of our energy. And the sun can also represent a masculine energy in your life. Some say it's the father in your life, someone who feels like a father. So for some of those people out there, the father, the male, had to play the role of the mother and vice versa. Right. But there's something that's being released. It's saying that your immortal spirit, purpose, and destiny is involved in this. So basically that kind of tells me this isn't something that you're going to want to fight. It's something where you're realizing this is just an ending of a cycle. You have a new beginning. We all do. But for you specifically, Gemini, your new beginning is in your 9th house. So this has to do with your beliefs, right? Yeah. 9th house is my beliefs. It's also my unconscious judgments. It's my philosophy on life. It's also learning. Like, do I want to continue learning? Am I hungry to learn? Yeah, absolutely. Constantly on that search, right? So it's your 9th house of higher learning. So possibly traveling to learn, right? The willingness to learn about people who are foreign to you or cultures, right? Foreign places, foreign languages even, right? Getting up in the airplane and flying away, or maybe you just do it online, right? But learning about something that's foreign to you. Okay. Now this can be the judicial system, the justice system. This is a new beginning. So, if you have but this is like the big justice system, meaning it's not like in your own personal private life. Although I guess depending upon certain legislation that's written, there could be something here that is a new beginning that affects your life in that way. I can think of the United States recently. What did they recently do? I forget the name of the bill they just recently passed, but it was about marriages, saying that regardless of whatever state you get married in, that sanctity of that marriage will be honored in all states, regardless of gender. Like it's got nothing to do. It's about marriage and the sacredness of marriage itself. That marriage itself, that bond, is basically sovereign. The bond itself is sovereign, regardless of where you go, where you travel. So that's a huge deal. And that definitely would be something done on a large scale within the judicial system that affects us in a very private way. And that is this 9th house energy that matches this. Okay. So I wanted to just give you as an example of that. Now yours has a lot to do with friends, because this is a new moon in Aquarius. So it's people who are different, friends who are different. It's also astrology. Yeah, it's being very inventive. It's science. It's just being unique. Think of Leonardo da Vinci. Think of Nikola Tesla, the Wright brothers. People who invented things that helped humanity. So we think of literally the airplane. We think of the light bulb, electricity. We think of, nobody invented electricity, but they discovered it, right? But when we think of the light bulb itself, the creation of that, the ability to light up the home, right? It changed life forever. Absolutely. It was huge. So we think of things that are big, that are just global, right? That affect all walks of life. Well, you have that in your ninth house, which is interesting because your friends then are going to be super unique, very different people, usually smart, and they're going to be people who are more inclined towards social causes. What I will say is this energy, I like this placement because Aquarian energy also has the angelic realm wrapped in it. It's the angelic realm, which can step in times of need. And where we see like these little miracles that occur, you've got this. Yeah. And this is a big deal because it's in the ninth house, and which means it's like Jupiter energy. It's big, it's expansive, it's, yeah, go big or go home. So when it shows up, it shows up. Yeah, it's awesome. We're going to pull you a card for this new beginning. Maybe you're going back to school. Maybe it has to do with spirituality and religion. Maybe you get a new spiritual teacher. Maybe you become the spiritual teacher. It's a new beginning, and it's all about your independence, you sticking out from the crowd, you being, people are recognizing, acknowledging you suddenly, right? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're standing out. We see you. Your flag's raised, and it's different and it's colorful, and yeah. It's you being recognized for your uniqueness. Yeah, the uniqueness that will be tied into the way you believe, right? The things that you believe about. And your optimism is involved too. All right, let's just pull a card already. So I'm going to span them out. And they're telling me to feel them. And they are telling me that if I take a look at what I'm doing as I span these out, because this is a brand new deck, right? They're telling me that every card is sticking to another card. That's why they kept saying the second card. But they didn't say it once. They kept saying it super fast. And if I look closely, all these cards are sticking. They all have a second card attached to them. Okay, so yeah, here we go. There we go. They made that simple. They said it's the first set of second cards. Thank you. Thank you. Got to move the microphone because I never know how this is going to work. Bam, 10th house career. Ooh, this is recognition, your achievements and status in the outside world. So it's what we are known for. 10th house is career and ambition. Wow, this is a big deal for you, Gemini. Now, the 10th house can be job, can be career. It does represent duties and responsibilities. When we think job and career, we just don't get handed the paycheck. We have to work for it, right? But as long as we're willing to do the work, we get acknowledged and recognized for it. And somehow in your ninth house of spirituality, your ninth house of freedom, of truth, your ninth house of discovering, of adventure, of traveling, of accepting people who are different, having friends who are unique, who don't fit into the cookie cutter image, more specifically the way they believe. There's something that's so unique about them and yourself, being acknowledged and recognized for that. This is a really cool card for a new beginning. How exciting, Gemini. This is thrilling. Happy 2023, right? Yeah. Happy New Year. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.